Today we'll be looking at atomic number and mass number. Now, atomic number is the number of protons in the atomic nucleus of an element. The atomic number is denoted by letter Z. In a neutral atom, the number of protons is equal to the number of electrons. Then when you talk about the mass number, this is the sum of the protons and neutrons rather. This is the sum of the protons, then the neutrons in the atomic nucleus of an element. It is denoted by letter A. Now, for example, Z is letter X here, is representing an element. This letter X is representing an element. The A above, A here, is the mass number. A is the mass number, and Z here is the atomic number. The atomic number. Now this will lead us to what is called the isotopy. But let's look at an example again. Let's look at fluorine, for example. Fluorine. Now the mass number for fluorine is 19. The atomic number is 9. Look at sodium. Sodium has atomic number 11 and mass number 23. Now this will lead us to isotopy. We are going to look at isotopy. What is isotopy? Isotopy. This is a phenomenon where atoms of an element exhibit different mass number but the same atomic number. Different mass number. They have different mass number. Atoms of the same element having different mass number but the same atomic number. This is what we refer to as isotopy. Let's look at an example where you have an atom of chlorine. You can have two atoms of chlorine. You can have two isotopes of chlorine rather. We have isotope chlorine 1735. We can also have chlorine 1737. Now we have two different isotopes of chlorine. One is 1735, the other one is 1737. Now let's look at what you will see here that both of them have the same atomic number. Let's look at it together. Now let's look at mass number. Mass number here. Mass number. The first one, the mass number is 35. The second one, the mass number is 37 rather. 35 and 37. Then the atomic number is the same thing. Atomic number is 17. Then the number of protons. Number of protons is 17. Number of electrons also 17. Then the only thing that is different is number of neutrons. The number of neutrons here are different. For the chlorine 35, the number of neutrons is, for the chlorine 3517, number of neutrons is 35 minus 17. 35 minus 17, and that is 18. Then chlorine 3717, number of neutrons is 37 minus 17. Number of neutrons is 37 minus 17, and that is 20. That is what that's difference between the two chlorine atoms. So the two chlorine atoms are isotopes. The two chlorine atoms are isotopes of chlorine. Now, an atom has a nucleus. The nucleus of the atom has two. Inside the nucleus of the atom, we have the proton and the neutron. The proton is positively charged while the neutron is neutral. The proton is positively charged while the neutron is neutral. The neutron is neutral. Then the electron rotates around the atom and the electron is negatively charged. You can see the electron, it rotates around the atom and the electron is negatively charged. So we have a negatively charged electron rotating around an atom with a positive proton and neutron embedded within the nucleus of the atom. This is the structure of an atom. Now every atom has proton, has neutron, has electron. But the atomic number is basically the number of proton and the number of electron within an atom. That is the atomic number. While the mass number is both the number of proton and the neutron. That gives us the mass number of an atom. Now we look at an atom like oxygen. Oxygen has 8 electrons. We can see the first shell has 2 electrons, while the outside shell has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 plus 2 will give us 8 electrons rotating around the atoms. Now let's look at oxygen. Oxygen, number of electrons is 8. Number of protons is 8. Protons is 8. Now, then number of neutrons. We can't get the number of neutrons except we have the isotope of oxygen. It is the isotope of oxygen that will give us the number of neutrons that an atom of oxygen has. Now let's look at the isotope of oxygen. Look at these two isotopes of oxygen. We have oxygen 16-8 and oxygen 17-8. Now both of them has atomic number 8. Then number of proton 8. Number of electrons 8. But number of neutrons differ. Number of neutrons for the first oxygen, for this particular oxygen, is 16 minus 8. And that gives us what? That is 8. But for the second oxygen, number of neutrons is 17 minus 8, and that is 9. And that's why we say mass number is the number of protons and neutrons that is found in the atomic nucleus of an element. That is the mass number of the element.